Welcome into a different edition of the EMA Online Fastbreak. I'm here with Gabe Schwartz making his video and kind of whole debut here for the digital side of things for EMA Online. But K-State falls to Iowa State tonight in a weird game almost in a little bit of ways because it looked like they were going to fall behind a little bit too much, but then they ended up fighting back. Gabe, I was pretty impressed with what K-State showed in the last minutes of the second half.
Yeah, I think we both were. I mean, K-State gets down 10 points in the second half, and we both kind of turned to each other thinking it felt like the run was coming. It felt like the Hilton Magic was ramping up, and the whole building had kind of gotten going. Marquise Noel hits a step-back three. Ish Massoud hit some big shots. Every time it felt like K-State kind of had an answer to keep themselves in the game, and that kind of surprised us given kind of how things got away from them at TCU. But I thought it was super impressive, the response that K-State showed against a very solid Iowa State team, a very solid defensive team to shoot above 50% on the road. Just overall, even though it was a loss, I think it was a loss that built confidence for both of us.
Yeah, and sticking with some of the positives here, I think that one of the big positives over the last couple weeks with this K-State team is that you found ways to not only beat some really good teams like Kansas without some of your best players playing really well. Obviously, that night was Marquise Noel not having his best night. And tonight, I know you lost against a really good Iowa State team, like you said, but you were in it right down to the very last second, despite Keontae Johnson not having his best offensive night and Naquan Tomlin not having his best night, and your three bigs not getting a rebound. And that's something that we'll talk about a little bit later in our stories. But to be able to kind of stay in some of these games by getting production from ancillary guys like Ish Massoud, who stepped up big tonight and stepped up really big on Saturday against Texas Tech, to get big production from Desi Sills against Kansas, I think you're starting to see some of the depth that this team recruited and this coaching staff was able to recruit and land.
Yeah, the first half it was Cam Carter, 5 of 5 from the field. Now, I think that there can be a little bit of criticism levied toward K-State and specifically toward Marquise Noel because, you know, he's the guy that gets everybody involved. Cam Carter doesn't take a shot in the second half. But when Cam Carter wasn't getting going, Ish Massoud steps up. He goes 4 for 5 from 3. I think 3 of them at least came in the second half.
Yeah.
So really solid contributions for guys off your bench, and then Cam Carter, I guess, kind of the fifth starter. And that's really impressive for K-State, and it's something that you need to win road games in the league play, so that's a good sign moving forward.
Let's transition to, in my opinion, one of the biggest negatives. Something that's kind of popped up here a little bit in K-State's 2 Big 12 losses is their interior defense. So Eddie Lamb can give them a ton of troubles at TCU. And I know Osuni didn't have the same production in terms of eye-opening numbers for Iowa State tonight, but had a really good second half. They were able to get the ball inside to him. He was able to finish over guys like Massoud. Bebe was on him and struggled a little bit at times. So did Naquan Tomlin. And when they didn't stop him on his field goals, they sent him to the line. And I think he went 10, 11 times tonight.
Yeah. And just in general, it felt like when Iowa State did miss, they didn't miss a lot. They shot, I think, above 50% from the field. It felt like they got almost half the offensive rebounds, specifically in the second half when they missed 6 shots. I think 4 of them were offensive rebounds, if I'm not mistaken. And that's just something you cannot afford to lose the shot attempt battle on the road. That's something that K-State did. We'll see if they switch up the defensive strategy. Keontae Johnson mentioned fronting the post. Jerome Tang mentioned that if they do front the post, that's going to open up three-point looks in the perimeter. And I don't know if that's something that they're going to want against a guy like Grady Dick on Tuesday night at Allen Fieldhouse. But it might be something that they want against a TCU team when they get to see them in Bramlage again, or an Iowa State team when they get to see them back in Manhattan, just because those teams aren't necessarily as good three-point shooting teams. So we'll see how they adjust the defense. It's something that I'm very much looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, me too. Make sure you guys are looking forward to seeing everything on EMA Online in the coming hours and really, I guess, the next couple of days, as you guys can subscribe there, see all of our content, all of player grades, and a feature story from tonight's game. I'm sure Gabe will have a feature. Mason already has some content up on the website as well, so make sure you guys subscribe there so you can see all of it. But thank you for watching, and subscribe